Hey guys, Metallica28 back again, here to bring you guys another video. This one's going to be doing part 6 of my 2014 Mets regular season series, and oh my god, the Mets this has been a roller coaster ride for the Mets. I mean, holy fucking shit. I was going to make this video a little earlier, a couple days ago, before the Philly series, and it was going to be my first rant video for my 2014 series for the Mets regular season. I opted not to do that because I wasn't sure how you guys would feel about me basically yelling and screaming through an entire video. But I held back from that, and I was proven wrong because then the Mets went out and they surprised the hell out of me and everybody else when they beat the Phillies 4 out of 5 games. I mean, that was fucking incredible. 3 of them being extra inning games. One of them they lost, and the other 2 they won. I mean, unbelievable series. So we'll give them some slack there. They were just within 1 game under 500. So they were 20 and 29 at the end of the series. So then they come and they play the fucking Chicago Cubs for a 3-game set, and they have lost the first 2 games now. And it seems like they're spiraling back down to earth again. So we might see a rant video from me soon if the Mets continue to play this way. But I'm in a loss for words with what's going on with the Mets right now, especially offensively, and the bullpen. And that's been the common theme for the Mets the entire season. The rotation has been outstanding, even without Dylan G and Matt Harvey, obviously, and Noah Syndergaard's not even up yet. Montero's not even in the rotation anymore. And they're still pitching well. So, big ups for the Mets rotation. And Zach Wheeler seems like he's finally got it. It seems like he's finally coming around, and he's going to be that potential ace that Mets always envisioned him being when they traded for him. So, to be alongside with Matt Harvey and Noah Syndergaard. So, if he can continue pitching this way, holy shit, we're looking good for next year. But for this year, I'm only focused on this year right now. I'm gonna make a couple predictions. It's not even predictions, basically. It's a repetition of what I've said in probably 6 videos before this. And it's making me happy that I have to bring this up again because it seems like it's finally taking light. And that's the trade prediction I made for the Mets, trying to go out, have some balls, and trade for Carlos Gonzalez from the Rockies. Now, remember when I said that the Mets were having to hope that the Rockies would finally start tanking? That's finally happening. The Rockies are starting to lose, like, in droves right now. They are losing so many games, and it's giving the question of, do they decide to finally listen to trade options or trade possibilities for their star, Carlos Gonzalez? And right now, that's exactly what they're doing. This was a guy that was untouchable. He was deemed untouchable by the owner a couple months ago, okay? And all of a sudden, the Rockies are losing massive amount of games. They're now 2 games under 500, okay? And they're 9.5 games out of first. They're falling out of the race quickly. They're going to try to trade Carlos Gonzalez and reload on prospects to try to rebuild that way and save some money as well, all at the same time. So what happened was I decided to make this video because obviously it made my skin crawl. I was fucking happy when I heard that Ken Rosenthal, okay? I have an actual source here. Ken Rosenthal of Fox Sports reported that the Rockies are listening to trade offers for Carlos Gonzalez as we speak. Right now it's June 5th, so we're a month away from the trade deadline, a little more than a month away from the trade deadline. So obviously trade rumors are going to start picking up some steam now. And the Mets are on that list for potential suitors for Carlos Gonzalez, as according to Ken Rosenthal. And this makes me so happy if this becomes correct. You know, if the Mets actually go out and trade for Carlos Gonzalez, I mean, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm going to look like a fucking genius because I've been predicting this for months now. So, I mean, I've been drooling for this to happen. Obviously, Mets fans would love to see Giancarlo Stanton instead, but it's so unrealistic it's not going to happen. The Mets and Marlins are not going to trade like that. I mean, the days that those trades have happened are pretty much far from over because both teams are pretty much at a crossroads. They are at a similar stance in their franchise at the same time, which has never happened. The Mets and Marlins right now are so similar, it's scary. They both are built on pitching. They barely have offense, but they have enough trade pieces to give away for more offense. And they have similar payrolls and similar standings for years now. So Mets and Marlins right now in the NL East are the most similar teams that you can think of. So they're not going to trade they're not going to trade for each other, for players and prospects and sluggers and stuff like that. It's not going to happen. Even though between the two teams, the team with the best slugger is the Marlins with Stan. But anyway, that's besides the point. Now let's think of trade packages that the Mets can possibly offer to the Rockies. As of right now, Dylan G is still on the DL, and he's not coming back. They're saying anytime soon. It seems like he's going to come after the All-Star break is a realistic thing, a realistic time frame, possibly even earlier than that. So that's not good. By then, Noah Syndergaard most likely will be up for the Mets. Obviously, he was struggling with his diagnosis of something in his elbow was wrong, and Mets fans were like, "Oh my God, not fucking again!" Matt Harvey all over again. But thankfully, nothing happened. It is a concern though, because the injury he has is a precursor to Tommy John surgery. So we gotta keep our fingers crossed that nothing else happens before he comes up, and that he does come up still in the same time frame he was supposed to come up, which is mid-June after the Super 2 status deadline. But anyway, the Mets have to think about players they're gonna have to trade, and now that Montero's down in AAA again, trying to rework his command because he's been walking guys left and right up in the majors. The Mets don't really have right now guys to trade, but they're gonna have to find a way to get this done. Now, the Mets trade package that I would consider for Carlos Gonzalez, right, would be to have a package centered around 3 pitching prospects. One that's obviously Major League ready, that's in the rotation right now, and that's Jacob deGrom. The other 2 being guys that are on the top 20 Mets prospect list that many fans don't really know of, and some hardcore fans do, like me. One of those guys would be Gabriel Ynoa, okay? He is the number, let me tell you right now. He is the number, let me see, is he even on? He's the number 16 prospect for the Mets, okay? He has a great strikeout to walk ratio, 106 to 16 in 136 innings in low A so far. He's only 20 years old. He has great fastball command, and his changeup and breaking pitches are still in progress. I'm just reading right now his report. So if he improves, he could be a nice number 4 starter if everything else polishes away. So he's projected to be a back end rotation type of guy. And then I would also in the trade package add in Steven Matz. He's the number 14 prospect for the Mets. Another pitcher. He had Tommy John surgery, and it took him 3 years to recover from that. But obviously his elbow is going to be a lot stronger now, so he's going to throw a lot harder. He's a lefty. He has great home road splits, and people in the Mets organization are even pegging him to be a potential Jerry Koosman type of pitcher, I should say. So I mean, come on, Jesus Christ, that means he's like a number 2 projected starter. So the Mets would be sending those 2 guys away, along with Jacob deGrom, who obviously right now is in the Mets rotation. He's the number 12 Met prospect, and he's great. He's more than advertised. I mean, he was pegged also as a number 4 starter potentially, and he's been more than that. So the Rockies would be getting those 3 pitching prospects, okay? And then I would send them some bats. The bats I would be sending them will be Wilmer Flores. He can automatically be inserted to play second base for them for their future. And I would also send them Brandon Nimmo, outfield prospect for the Mets. He on the list is the number. Let me see. He's the number 7 prospect for the Mets. So a lot higher in the list. He right now is average is pegged to be hitting 10 to 50 home runs annually. But it's obviously potential for 20 to 25 home runs. He's going to be most likely an all-around outfielder, a possible slugger, and a high on-base guy. So, and he's obviously passive at the plate. So, similar to Joey Votto. So this guy has a lot of potential. He's still young. He's only in single-A Savannah for the Mets right now. So a lot of potential there for the Mets. So that's the trade package I would send for Carlos Gonzalez. Noting the fact that the Mets would take on his contract, which right now he's owed $7.5 million this year. Now Sandy Alderson, the more he sees Nelson Cruz hit home runs, and the less he sees Chris Young hit home runs, the more he's got to be cringing. His job is on the line right now. This is the potential deal Sandy Alderson can make for his job to be saved for next year. He can redeem himself for the fucking loss of not signing Nelson Cruz and signing Chris Young for the same amount of money that Nelson Cruz got from Baltimore. I mean, this can do it for the Mets. He can redeem himself by trading for Carlos Gonzalez, and he would be forgiven by all Met fans. I can guarantee it. Will this trade package get it done? I believe so. Especially with the fact that the Rockies would be stockpiling there. I mean, they have enough offense. They don't really need offense right now. They have outfielders galore in Colorado. They have Charlie Blackmon, Michael Kadire, Corey Dickerson, Brandon Barnes, Drew Stubbs. I mean, they have so many outfielders. And then you would add in an an offensive piece in Wilmer Flores to play second base for them. First base, they obviously have what's his name? Who's their first baseman? Oh, gee, I forgot. The first baseman. Oh, Justin Morneau. Sorry. Shortstop's Tulo. Third base is Arenado. Obviously, the catcher's Rosario. They have so much offense. But Michael Kadire is going to be a free agent at the end of next year, and they're going to look to re-sign him, but they're not going to have money to re-sign him unless they get rid of one of the outfielders. Carlos Gonzalez is due about $16 million. $16 million in 2015. So can the Mets tack on that type of money? Sure they can. If they get rid of these guys, they can. The thing is, Met management is basically saying, or Met ownership is basically saying that they will increase payroll when fans start showing up to the field. I mean, that's the most backward fucking statement you can make. Fans are not going to come to the field unless you have a product on the field. The Mets don't have a product on the field right now. They're getting there, but they don't have it yet. By trading for a shortstop and trading for an outfielder like Carlos Gonzalez, you're going to drive your attendance up, which is going to, in fact, bring more revenue. You know, you're going to possess more revenue so that you can purchase guys next year and give guys raises next year to stay with the Mets. Hello. So, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to understand that concept. So, if you're the Mets, you got to make this trade. The only thing I would say is that since they traded Ike Davis away and they brought their payroll down to roughly $84.5 million right now, and if they were to add $7.5 million to Carlos Gonzalez's contract, the Mets payroll would have jumped up to $91 million for this year alone. But I think that for the Mets, they would have to also trade another pitcher to get a shortstop, okay? Since obviously they're going to be losing Flores, they're not going to want to stick with Tejada. That's why I still think the Mets should trade Dylan G away to Arizona for Chris Owings or Didi Gregorius, or to Seattle for Brad Miller or Nick Franklin, or even to the Angels for Eric Ibar. But that's my last resort. I'm leaning more towards Arizona since Arizona is still down in the basement in the NL West. They obviously need a stockpile on another arm, so that's a possibility. So those are two trade possibilities I've been saying for the longest. Dylan G and maybe catcher prospect Kevin Plawecki for one of those shortstops. I would prefer Chris Owings because he can lead off. And but right now, since Chris Owings hasn't been playing that well, I don't think the Mets need to trade Kevin Plawecki. I think they would just obviously at this point only have to trade Dylan G. That's why the Mets would have to maybe consider going to Seattle and trying to get Brad Miller or Nick Franklin. So one of those four guys, either one of those four guys the Mets get at shortstop is an improvement over Ruben Tejada, defensively and offensively, and they can lead off. So the situation they were leading off would be settled, and then the Mets would get a cleanup hitter in Carlos Gonzalez. Those are two of the most important spots, if not arguably the two most important spots in the lineup in any baseball team. They're your leadoff spot and your cleanup spot. The Mets can basically fill those two needs this year. The Mets payroll, let's say if they were to trade Dylan G on top of that, right, would jump down to $81 million, okay? And then you tack on, obviously, Carlos Gonzalez at $7.5 million. The end result would be $88.5 million for this year. That's extremely realistic for the Mets to do. And then next year they can think about signing a closer like Sergio Romo, signing a first baseman, a guy like Billy Butler, or even Kadire, someone like that. Anybody is better than Lucas Duda. And then also Matt Harvey's going to return, Bobby Parnell's going to return, Jeremy Hefner is going to return, and the Mets are going to be just far better next year. That's just what it's going to be. So the projected lineup, if these two trades were to happen this year, would consist of the shortstop, whoever they get leading off, Murphy right, Carlos Gonzalez in left, Granderson in right, Duda at first, Lagares at center when he comes back from his injury, of course. Darnell at catcher in the pitcher spot. I mean, Jesus, that lineup is so much better, so much more balanced. Chris Young is going to just have to run on the bench for the rest of the year because he's god-awful. He's fucking garbage. Ruben Tejada as well. He's gonna rot on the bench. Eric Young Jr. is gonna come back from the DL next week. He's gonna have to be the fourth outfielder from the bench as well. Bobby Abreu, I don't know what they're gonna do with him. And then obviously Eric Campbell. So and Anthony Recker. So that's my feeling. And then what I would do for the rotation, you have Cologne, Wheeler, Nice. Obviously, Syndergaard will come up in June. And then you'd have to make a decision. Either you're going to keep Daisuke in the rotation or you're going to bring in Montero after the Mets trade away DeGrom and NG. And then your bullpen, the bullpen's pretty much the same. Mejia, your closer, Black and Familiar, your setup guys. Torres and Rice, your middle relievers. Hernandez is going to come back to be your middle reliever. And then your long relief guys are either going to be the guy that is not in the rotation, either Daisuke or Montero. So that's it for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts on what you think about this. I'm going to put the link to the article by Ken Rosenthal, down below, so you guys can check that out, see it for yourself, what he's been thinking about these trade rumors, if the Mets can afford Carlos Gonzalez, because of course his salary is going to increase next year to $16 million. So the Mets are basically going to have to add the difference. So they're going to have to add $9 million. So let's do the math here. If they were to add $9 million on top of the $7.5 million he's making this year, right? Their payroll would jump from 89 to 98. But take off $7.25 million that was owed to Chris Young. They're obviously not going to resign him. It's going to be at $90.25 million, $750,000 next year. So that's realistic. That gives them the flexibility to probably sign a closer like Romo for, I would say, $5 million or $6 million per, and then possibly a first baseman for like $12 to $13 million per. So their payroll should climb over $100 million next year, close to 110, hopefully. But yeah, so that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this video. It's finally happening. Trade rumors are starting to come into place. Right now, this is the Mets' opportunity to finally make a trade, because the Marlins, they signed Kevin Gregg. They made a trade. They're trying their best. The Braves are not playing well. The Nationals are playing awful. The Phillies are what they are now. They're a last place team. This is the Mets' opportunity right now to pounce on it and trade for Carlos Gonzalez, especially right now since the Rockies are giving in right now. They are falling behind fast, right before our eyes. So and so are the Diamondbacks. So let me know what you guys think. Do the Mets make these two trades, especially the Carlos Gonzalez trade? Would you guys obviously be happy about this? Would you guys decide to go out and watch your Mets play? Help the Wilpons gain some revenue so they can start making contracts happen next year as well. And take it from there. So that's it. I'm going to call it here, guys. Metallica Boy 28. You guys have a great rest of your day. I will make my next video probably after Father's Day next week. See what the Mets are doing by then, in the standings, obviously, and how everything's going to go about. And possibly make a video as well on a potential call-up for Noah Syndergaard, because his call-up is fastly approaching. So that's it, guys. I'm Metallica Boy 28, and I'm calling it here, and I'm saying peace.